During the early phase of the Covid-19 pandemic, 19 educational professionals were interviewed online, including leaders, teachers, and teaching assistants. Participants were working in a range of settings, including primary, secondary, and special schools. This presentation considers the way in which leadership priorities and practices may have been shaped by conditions of extreme unpredictability and uncertainty, and what the impact has been for school leaders' well-being. Leaders communicated a deep sense of loss in terms of bereavement in their school community, a lack of face-to-face connection, and reduced feelings of control and competence. Leaders were critical of the timing and communication of central government guidance for schools, which they suggested lacked clarity and seemed impractical. Repeated revisions arriving after school procedures had already been established further exacerbated stress and uncertainty. Frustration was expressed at what leaders perceived to be misunderstanding and undervaluing of school staff in mainstream and social media. Leaders reported feeling ultimately accountable for the safety of staff, parents and pupils, but felt they lacked sufficient information, time or autonomy to make informed decisions. They described attempting to act as shock absorbers and buffers of stress in an effort to prioritise and protect the well-being of other stakeholders. However, this was often to the detriment of their own physical and mental well-being and personal relationships. It was common for leaders to feel as though they fell through the gaps in terms of their own well-being support, or that they needed to mask their own vulnerability to protect others. Leaders reported high levels of anxiety, difficulty switching off, disrupted sleep, and a number of leaders questioning whether they could continue in their role. Leaders drew on established trusting relationships with teachers, parents, health professionals, and the wider community for support. Several leaders had also accessed supervision during this time and felt this was a necessity long term. Connecting with other leaders, sharing and networking was an important mechanism of managing uncertainty, reaffirming professional values, identifying local priorities, and guiding decision making. Leaders reported a renewed focus on creative collaboration rather than competition. Going forward, it is clear that leading schools through ongoing uncertainty will require healthy and well-resourced school leaders who are supported to prioritise their own self-care. Opportunities are also emerging from the pandemic to reshape leadership practices and educational priorities more broadly. Schools require adaptive, responsive and distributed approaches which are driven by shared values and the complex and changing needs of their school communities. A focus on building trust and improving participative and inclusive decision-making across all levels of the school system is vital to avoid stifling this potential with external measures of accountability.